My neighbors are listening to really loud music and I love that for them, but I hope that you can't hear it. "2020. I didn't think that a year could get worse for me personally than 2019. Enter 2020. And don't get me wrong, I know 2020 was bad for everyone, but one thing the pandemic did bring was this deafening silence that I couldn't get away from. I couldn't unhear. I've never felt lonelier than I did this year. One of the things I learned right at the close of 2020, I had this thought that kept following me around.
Hey.
No, I'm going on a picnic.
Do you have a second?
It's just not a good time. It's not a good time.
No, it'll just take a second. Hey, seems like you have a second.
Meditating.
Seriously?
You're not even supposed to be here through this. It's really inappropriate.
Please.
Inappropriate! I do not set aside bath time for
But
this.
it's literally the perfect time to sit with your thoughts.
No, it's the perfect time to sit with some wine. Not you.
Ah.
It was fuzzy at first and I didn't really know how to formulate it, but it did eventually push its way into my consciousness.
Hey girl, please don't run away.
Okay, what is it?
Do you really feel like you've spent enough time alone as an adult to know yourself?
Oh, hell no.
Wait.
Nope.
Come on, I know you're about to head out, but if you had a good answer, you wouldn't be running from this.
As a matter of fact, know-it-all, I do have an answer. And firstly, let me say thank you for showing up with such consistency. It really shows character on your part. But the way that I see it is I'm going to spend most of my life with a partner. So what I really need to learn is how to grow with another person. Because there's growing by yourself and then there's growing in partnership. And if I'm gonna spend the rest of my life with someone, I really need to learn the latter. So, I'm good over here. Thanks again for your time.
Ah! Do you even really believe all that you said before? Do you think you've spent enough time alone to know yourself?
I'm sorry, I thought we were done with this conversation.
Come on, I'm sorry about your breakup. But what happens when you look inside?
Yeah, honestly, I've spent most of this year alone and by myself, and now I'm single too. I don't know what more you could possibly want from me. I am alone.
But have you been listening to your thoughts?
Yes, man, I got a whole journal.
But are you listening? You downloaded Bumble?
Yes, Judge Judy. But nobody can even contact me on there unless I contact them first.
You're just looking for distractions.
You're the one following me everywhere. Maybe you need to look inside.
Don't deflect.
I mean, I know I'm entertaining and all, but this really seems more like a you problem. Don't come for me unless I've called for you.
You need to hear this. Drop all the sass and justification. And I can tell I'm wearing you down. Do you really feel like you have a strong sense of self? Like you know yourself detached from all of the people around you?
Maybe not. Maybe I haven't spent enough time alone really at any point in my adult life to silence all the noise and really hear myself. So what do I do? Hello? Are you asleep?
Yeah, girl. I'm tired. You've been working me. I've been trying to reach you for like years.
Okay, well, I'm here now. Now what?
Yeah, girl, I love this for us, but that's really all.
What do you mean that's all? I just came to the realization. What do I do?
I mean, that's really all for me. I'm about to log out. That's the next thought's job. Maybe you won't box her out for so long and you'll see some progress.
Okay, well, thanks.
No problem at all. That's what I'm here for. But just in case you think about forgetting this message, I'm going to make sure to work it into the theme of every podcast, therapy session, meditation, and spare moment.
That seems excessive.
Just for a little while, so you know it's real.
And that thought stayed true to its word. I found it, saw it, heard it in every podcast, every book cover, my therapy session with a brand new therapist. It just kept hitting me over the head. A lot of people either don't know themselves or don't know what they think of themselves. And I was probably a little bit of both. If you ever feel like parts of your identity are overly fluid, you might be going through something similar. An example, if you're hanging out with some people who you often spend a lot of time with, and without thinking about it too much in the front of your mind, you just happen to be one of the smarter, more driven people in that group. And subliminally, you think you're smart. But then something puts you in a new situation and you're no longer the smartest person in the room. And you're all of a sudden questioning whether you actually are smart or whether you were just smarter than everyone you were around. That is a fluid sense of self, and not necessarily in a great way. Your intelligence didn't change between the two situations, but your self-concept did. You went from regarding yourself highly in your intelligence to completely changing that self-concept and no longer thinking you were smart. Those are the kinds of things I would go through a lot. Sometimes I'd be unsure if I was outgoing or if I was just more outgoing than a lot of the people in my close circle. I struggled to be able to formulate my vision of myself without it being in comparison or contrast to others around me. So many people spend their alone time numbing themselves or drowning out all their thoughts with noise. And that kind of aloneness isn't the kind of restorative aloneness that lets you know yourself. It's really just the absence of other people. It's not the aloneness where you're really learning yourself and building your own self-concept. I'm saying you, I'm pretty much just talking to me. My eyes were completely opened and I realized I didn't really know what I thought of myself because I only ever really thought of myself in contrast to other people. And I don't think you can really know yourself without time alone, intentional time alone. Because I've been alone plenty, but I was always just waiting for the next time that I could share experiences with others, which is something I know about myself. I love human interaction, but that's not an excuse to not know myself.
If you're always around other people, you would never know what's born from inside you and what's a response to other people's energies. It's okay to love social interaction, but no amount of time around other people will ever be enough if you don't love or know yourself. Imagine a person you feel really awkward around. A distant relative, a colleague, an acquaintance who you're not really friends with. Someone who you don't really know what you think of them, and you definitely don't know what they think of you. And you have to spend a ton of time with them for some reason. You dread it, you'd probably try to find a way out of it, or try to drag in another colleague, a friend, a family member to share the load of dealing with this person you feel really awkward around. Now imagine that person is actually you. It's the person inside of you. And I think that's how a lot of people feel about themselves. It can be awkward to spend time with someone you don't really know. You don't know what you think of them, and we try to find things or people to fill or drown out that time. And just like if you did that with another person you felt awkward with, you always avoided or canceled alone time with them, or always brought along another friend, a colleague, a family member to make it a group thing, you'd never really know that person. You were trying to occupy and get through the time with them. And yeah, you passed the time, but you still wouldn't know them at the end of it. Just like you still wouldn't know you. I think we're master avoiders, master numbers, and master distractors. We are so good at avoiding the things that make us uncomfortable. And a lot of the time, those things can be what we need the most, like aloneness.
So I've spent a lot of the past few days in almost total silence, reading, journaling, creating, doing little projects here and there, and just listening to my heart and mind. I either read or heard somewhere that every relationship in your life is a reflection with the relationship you have with yourself. If you're really impatient with other people, you're generally not giving yourself very much patience. If you're very judgmental of other people, there are things that you're judging in yourself. If you're really aggravated and agitated all the time, there's something that you haven't healed inside, and it just manifests outwards. So that's how I'm beginning 2021 on this new journey of aloneness. And I do hope somewhere along the way, alone doesn't feel like such a sad word. What's your relationship with aloneness? Amidst this very quiet time, I have been somewhat busy. I tried to film a bunch of videos. They're in the categories of self-care, decor, and plants. If you're enjoying this kind of content, leave me a comment down below and let me know. I'd love if you subscribed and came along for the ride. And I always love when you chat with me below. Otherwise, it's just me talking at this camera. I mean, that's what's happening anyway, but it's nice when you get some feedback or people let you know what they think. So until next time, bye.